Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the New Construction Marketing Podcast. And I am super pumped for today's guest. His name is John Lee. And John is known for being a founder of Rendering House. They specialize in all things AR, VR, rendering. So anything to help our buyers to visualize the home and sell them on that. Now, I'm really excited because John has some super fun, exciting news, and we're the first ones to hear about it. So I cannot wait to get into it. And you guys, your minds, I think, are just going to be completely blown by what's to come in the building industry. So welcome to the show, John. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be with you, Anya. I've heard so much about you and I've listened to your podcast, and it's just such a privilege to share some of the new things that's going on in our industry and how I think you and many of your fellow consultants can be a big part of this.
Awesome, awesome. So, John, if you don't mind giving our listeners a little bit of an overview about yourself and your company, how did you get into this exciting field? If you don't mind telling us about what's to come.
Okay, sure. Well, I've been with Rendering House since 2001. I was one of the founders of it. And it's really been a culmination of three of my major passions, which is business, technology, and real estate. And I've really been exposed to real estate early on in my life. My dad was a real estate agent, so I used to follow him around. And I was always intrigued with all the interactions that happened. And so much so that when I graduated from business school at UNC Chapel Hill, even though I already had a job with a Fortune 100 company, my first thing after graduation was to get a real estate license. And because I knew even if I wasn't a real estate agent, at some point in my life, I would be involved in real estate, and it's come to fruition there. And then I worked for 10 years in a Fortune 100 company and traditional brick and mortar industry with PPG Industries. They make paint, glass, chemicals, things like that. But in 1999, with the .com coming up, I was recruited to be a VP of finance for a Silicon Valley startup. Back then it was called Teralytics. And that exposed me to technology. And it was such a shocking change from the traditional brick and mortar industry. I was working in Sunnyvale, California, and the pace of change, the excitement, the passions, the things that are coming on the horizon. And so that was all great. But then in 2001, the .com busted. And I was back into the real world. So I came back to Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm from. And I was thinking about going back into the traditional industry. But then, with 9/11 and I kind of got caught up with the startup buzz. My brother-in-law was an architect, and he started this architecture illustration company. That's what it's called back then. And I said, hey, if you're interested, I'd love to, start with this. I know art is kind of a starving artist business, but he was always in the business of art, and I'm always more in the art of the business. I thought two of us come together, we could do something.
Perfect combination.
Yes, and it really took off. And one thing that really changed me was when I came into this industry, it's really a tech laggard industry. It's a huge industry, but it's tech laggard. And it really woke me up when we had to go out and get sales. And back then we had MapQuest and we had StarTech cell phone. And my partner, Jeff, and I, we'd take turns going around downtown Raleigh with a photo album of some of our renderings. And it would say no loitering, no solicitation, but we had to knock on the door and try to get people to buy our products. And it was like 90 degrees, humidity, it was terrible. So then I said, look, there's got to be a better way. And back then, I knew of a little company called Google. And I said, hey, there's people out there that are actually searching for our services instead of us knocking on doors, trying to get people to buy things they don't really want. And he was kind of reluctant at first, but I said, look, you just pay per click. And said, well, if everybody clicks on everything, we'll end up spending millions of dollars. I said, no, we can put a limit on it. And back then it was only 10 cents per click. And we put a $3 budget. And honestly, that day we got a $70,000 order from
$3 budget, $70,000. Wow.
And that was the biggest return I've ever made. That was with a company called Actus Lend Lease, and they were building military housing in Jacksonville, North Carolina at Camp Lejeune. And we got a $70,000 order. And from then on, we knew that technology was going to be our future.
So he was convinced. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yes. And since then, we basically built our whole business around technology, both in production and both in marketing and distribution. And actually, the next major event in our history was in 2008, obviously with the housing crash. And in 2010, I stood up in front of my company and I said, look, we guys have major changes. And everybody's worried that we're going to lay off like all my competitors. We're laying off their artists and modelers.
Mhm.
I said, no, what we're going to do is we're going to become a software company. And everybody was like shocked. But I said, really, coming out of this recession, the builders that survive are going to look for a different way of marketing their products. And not only that, to be more efficient and to get themselves out there, but the buyers that are going to be shopping, the millennials particularly, are going to look for a new way of doing things. I mean, everything was going mobile. People are doing things online. They had experience with Amazon. They're buying new cars online. And I said, we have to be part of that or we will be obsolete. And so that's part of the changes that we've gone through in the last, 6-7 years.
Yes. So it's interesting because at SCBC, there was such a big talk about the millennial buyers. And I had listened to 2 different presentations on marketing to millennials, and their numbers were anywhere between 20 to 40% of all millennials have bought a house sight unseen.
Yes.
Which is crazy, right? If you think about it. So obviously technology has a lot to do with it, right? If you're able to see the house, feel like you're walking through this house, and then make a purchase, and maybe you'll still go on site just to confirm.
Right.
But that would make our lives as sales reps so much easier.
Right.
So if you don't mind sharing with us, what's to come down the pike. You mentioned that you're the new software company. So what's the software company?
Okay. Well, I'm going to kind of tease you a little bit so we don't lose all our listeners here early on. First of all, when we're saying all this new technology, for millennials, that's not new technology for them. That's what they grew up with. That's all they know. They never rode around with grandma real estate agent all weekend long, picking up brochures and marking up things and mailing things in or whatever. They're used to doing everything online, and not just online, but on mobile and by touch. And so it's pretty shocking for them when they come out of every other industry and every other experience and come into this new home industry, which is the most, probably the biggest purchase they're ever going to buy, the most collaborative, most complicated, and most drawn out experience. And basically, one of the things that we've done with our apps is to really address the pain points of buying new. I mean, you got to really look at it. Our biggest competitors in the new home industry is existing homes. And the pain points of us is being able to find, design, and ultimately buy online. And when you compare it to buying an existing home, to be able to find it, you can just drive down the road. You can see it there. It's physically there. Everything's an MLS. You can just type in things and it pulls up those things. It has all the prices because they all exist. For us, the homes may not exist. There's tens of thousands of builders, hundreds of thousands of homes and plans, millions of options and lots. And you're supposed to go in there and try to find that stuff and figure it out. And then on top of that, you can't even see this house. And one of the big advantages of buying new versus existing is to be able to design it. And there was no capability to design it. I mean, I've been in this industry, for 17 years now. And for the first decade or so, all you had was a still rendering. A static rendering doesn't compare to great photographs and videos. Mm-hmm. And so you have to imagine this brown house in the blue color scheme that you want. Now, you may be able to do that, but your spouse may not be able to do that. And do you really want to take a risk in designing something that's sight unseen?
Yes.
You can even do that with their shoes. But they're expected to do that for their house.
Yes. And I think if you think about it, most people, if you ask them if you'd rather buy a used home or a new home, for
Right.
most people, I think they want a new home.
Exactly.
Right? It's just that the process is so tedious. And obviously it helps when you have an excellent salesperson who can navigate you through that, but still it's the biggest thing, visualization. So, and most builders that I have worked for, and I work for, huge national builders, there is nothing that they offered that would allow you to take the client through the experience to show them like, look, this is what your house could look like. other than a model home. But if they're purchasing something that's different from this particular model, I mean, it came down to, me grabbing my iPad and tape measure and taking them through homes under construction or through model home and literally measuring out, showing them, look, your kitchen would stop here. And you do the best that you can to help people visualize, because most people are so visual, right?
Exactly.
And I think 90% of information, or over 90% of all information transmitted to our brain, is visual.
Right.
So it's super important. And if most people even walking through a home under construction, can visualize what it's going to look like. So it's crucial that we have something to show them, because otherwise competing against resale is going to be difficult. And it shouldn't be difficult, because who doesn't want a new home?
Especially now that the technology is there. And imagine, even if your buyer is willing to wait with you for 30 minutes and see you painfully go through that process, do they want to go through that with every builder they meet up with in their 6-month search? I mean, it's just too painful to ask. And they just say, hey, look, there's a cheaper house right across the street. Mm-hmm. It's already there. There's no risk. Let's just buy it and be done with it. So we want to eliminate that point of design, but also make it not just a pain point, but a exciting attractions of engagement. So basically 4 or 5 years ago, we created this app, and now we have over 200 builders, and we don't have a sales and marketing team. I'm it. And so it's really been kind of word of mouth. And
what's the name of the app?
Well, we call it a builder app right now. So obviously we don't have a good sales and marketing team to help develop that, but it resonates with builders because we mainly sell it to the builders. Mm-hmm. And we have both, national large builders and local builders. And basically with that app, the buyers can go and interactively design their exterior colors, their floor plan options, their interiors, and choose their lots. And they're able to save it to their favorites, and it automatically creates a personalized brochure. And then they can come back to it anytime and continue to update it. And that's utilizing some visualization technology of real-time rendering. Traditionally, you go to a rendering company and you have to pay for that one brown house, which is probably the most neutral color to attract people, but that's actually the one nobody ever wants to buy. Mm-hmm. But they have to use that one rendering. And for the same price as a still rendering, you can now render tens of thousands of versions of that house instantly across 24/7 across all devices. And so that's completely changed the engagement of the home buyers and reduced their risk and built their excitement.
Okay, John, why do I not know about this app, and why is this app not all over? I mean, if you're telling me this, yes. I mean, come on.
Well, one of the problems is, I know one of the problems is my most loyal clients and the ones that like us the best, they don't want anybody else to know. So it's kind of the biggest hidden secret kind of thing. Okay. I guess the secret's getting out now. If you go to our website, they can see it.
Sorry, guys.
And
cat's out of the bag.
Exactly, cat's out of the bag. I mean, you're probably the first one to really kind of even announcing this, but it's been in the work. We've been doing it for 3-4 years now, so we have probably hundreds of builders, and we have hundreds of thousands of options there that you can now just design online and save it. And actually, a lot of the buyers, they just show up at the model home, or they email it to the agent exactly what they want. So basically, you turn new home marketing upside down. Instead of the agent trying to persuade a buyer to, hey, imagine this and trust me, you'll like this and whatever, the buyer, in the comfort of their own home with their spouse, they interactively design it. And it also has a real-time price and mortgage calculator and square footage calculator. So as they update things, it automatically updates. And with the real-time mortgage calculator, like say, hey, wow, that $10,000 granite countertop, that's a lot to their sales price. But over 30 years at our financing terms, only $10 a month, and they're upgrading on their own without you trying to push it. And they can visualize it as well. So it kind of covers that whole spectrum of design. And then the last pain point, which I'll just touch on briefly, and then I'll get to your company, or my new company, I guess. The other pain point is the buy online process. I mean, you're in an age here where people can price things, they can save things, they can buy things online, e-commerce. I mean, whether it's Amazon or even, you don't have to even give money to taxi drivers. It's on Uber and it's automatically in your credit card. Everything is is digital, and you can even digitally transfer assets now and digitally sign things. So one of the first step is to allow the buyers to quickly be able to find the home, the builder, the lot, the options that they want. Two is to visually be able to design it and compare and save it and everything. And then three is to continue that whole process after you basically shopping cart all the things down to the kitchen sink. And with our software, I forgot to mention that you can also drag and drop where you want your ceiling fans, where you want your outlets. And so you visually can do all those things, and then it automatically fills out an online, kind of like a spec sheet or offer. Mm-hmm. Then you would have a secure cloud account between the buyer and the seller that takes into this arduous, complex 9-month construction progress. So you have, instead of emails and faxes even and photographs, everything is in your account. So as the construction worker is installing something, they can take a picture and say, hey, what do you think about it? Before you actually walk out there and it's fully done. Your whole closing process, from appraisal to loans to insurance, it's all done on your secure account, where everybody comes to you and you can follow the trail, and your spouse can follow as well, and your agent or your builder. And at the end, it's just a digital transfer of funds and assets. Seems a lot simpler. And you can check this in from wherever you're at. You can be in Rome and check on your new home.
This reminds me of like almost going to one of those restaurants where you have a menu, it's like a tablet, and you just say, okay, I want this, and that, and make it for me and bring it to me.
Exactly. Well, what happens is now our app can actually go into your website. So the buyers are doing this on their website, and we track them. So we actually are now tracking things at analytics level that builders have never seen before, because they usually just track them by, you went to page 5, and then you went to page 6, and then you spent 4 minutes on page 3. Were you really interested, or did you go to the bathroom? You don't know. But what we track is at a granular level. We kind of jerry-rig Google Analytics to track it at event level. So we know now the most popular plans, colors, options, lots, price points, bedrooms, and we tie it to demographics. So we say, hey, 40, 45-year-old women that like this will also like that. And when they save their favorites, we keep track of all that stuff. And then we can launch automated email campaigns with unique renderings that would match exactly that profile. No more generic brown house to everyone. That's exactly where
Oh my gosh. I mean, this is incredible. It is so incredible. And I am so excited for this technology. So can
yes, let me tell you about the company.
Builder right now could download this app and start the process. Is that right?
And it's very easy, because instead of the value proposition is a no-brainer. I mean, you can pay $300 for a generic steel rendering, mm-hmm. or for the same price, you can get unlimited. And a lot of your builders are using this to design their homes before they even market it. So they in-house, using a cloud account with all either focus group or their own people. What do you think about in this blue color scheme? What do you think about in red or whatever? And they see it, and then when they like it, they just click available, and now it's immediately on their website. Same thing with lot statuses. Now you can see all of the lot stats, what's available, what the price points are. You can see what color schemes are available, which elevations can go on there, the price points, everything.
So I follow you on LinkedIn, and I've seen a couple of videos that you had posted of going on the lot, and there's nothing there, and then suddenly, boom, 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 the house appears.
Yes. So what happens is, now that people can design it on their computers, what happens is now they get really excited, and they actually want to see their house on their lot. So we have created this new technology. I think we're the only ones in the industry that have created augmented reality full-scale homes. So
sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
For those of us who are not super techie, can you tell us the difference? What is AR versus VR?
Okay, sure.
There's a lot of talk about AR, VR. What does it mean? What's the difference?
Okay,
break it down for us.
We do both. So we do everything here, but VR is a virtual reality, and that's a total immersion into a totally virtual world. And it's becoming more and more realistic. So especially if you have VR headsets on. And we're also infusing it with a video gaming engine. So now you can go, and especially the millennials, again, they're used to playing their whole lives on video games. So now they can navigate their homes virtually and touch things, change things, even change the lighting in there. They can change the time of day, the seasons. You can make it snow. You can have the sound change as you walk toward the shower. You can have narration. You can touch the walls and learn what's behind it and learn about the appliance. So that's a virtual world, okay? And everything is totally up to you, freely roaming. The other side is augmented reality, AR, and that's where we have a computer modeled home that can is augmented into reality. So it's superimposed into the real environment. So not only do you want to see your home, but you want to see your home in the environment that it's going to be sitting on. You know, how's it look in the neighborhood next to the house next door? How far set back is it? You know, where's the sunlight coming from? All all those issues that people could never get to because it was just impossible before. And now with the technology, you can do this on your smartphone.
And it's available right now.
It's available right now. One of the reasons I don't go tell everybody because we just can't handle the volume when people come on.
Let's blow this up.
Can you like limit this to like, you know, maybe 10 listeners a week for like over the year?
No. You guys share this with every single person you know so that we can make this viral. And imagine if this was available to you in your model home, and imagine the process. Imagine the process of dealing with buyer objections.
Right.
When you can show them exactly how your house is going to sit on that lot that you want. No more tape measure, no more checking, you know, blueprints, no more checking plot plans, carrying it with you and like, oops, I messed up. Actually, you know, this is supposed to be here. I mean, this is incredible. And so would all of this be available through that builder app, or where do we go to get this?
Well, when you go to our website, probably helps explain some of this. We have our builder app there that allows you to go and design everything, okay? That kind of gets you excited. Now, the AR stuff, and the VR allows you to go and tour the inside, so you don't actually have to physically go to the location, especially if it's not even built yet. And what we're actually attracting for a lot of our builders, they're actually able to attract a lot of remote buyers. I mean, we have a company in Toronto that just totally did this all online, and they sold all 29 of their homes before their model home was built to buyers in China because they can just do it all remotely and all the way to custom designing it. But the AR thing, what's really cool, it's also a great equalizer versus existing homes. Because one of the big advantages of existing homes, you can walk them out there and they can take pictures of it, they can take videos of it. The real estate agents can do this for marketing and post it online or in Zillow or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now you can do the same thing with the unbuilt home. You drop the full scale house, you walk around it, you videotape from anywhere. It may even obsolete renderings in the future because instead of picking one camera view to render, the agent can just go out there and just record it in video. You can see it there, and you can even stand next to it and present the house just like a weather person does on TV.
That's so crazy. I mean, I think it's almost like one of those things that I don't believe it until you see it. So
well, go to our website, you'll see it. And if anybody ever wants me to show in person, I mean, well, fly me out there and I'll show you.
So all we do is we go to what, renderinghouse.com, or what's the website?
Yeah, renderinghouse.com. And we're in the process, you know, updating our website to a whole new thing, which will introduce our new company, which is called Inugo. And basically, I had reserved that name back in 2001 when 2010, sorry, when we were going to create a software company. Mm-hmm. But I was waiting for this maturity of technologies, which is, you know, the cloud, 5G, which is coming out, which would be tons faster than 4G. We wanted mobile, we wanted, you know, 3D cameras, we wanted augmented reality, and we want virtual assistants with like Alexa and Siri and all that stuff. But now we're getting to the point here that we can start to do that. And Inugo, the reason that name is called Inugo is basically don't buy and sell new homes the old way. Make a new go of it. And so, because part of buying new for new home buyers is to get a new lifestyle, make a new go of it. And we want to do the same thing with technology and with this industry. And one of the reasons this is all starting to come to fruition here is with our builder app, our design apps, and even augmented and virtual reality, it's generating a lot of engagement. But that engagement is also generating a lot of data. And so over the last 3 or 4 years, with our builders, they have been kicking off terabytes of data, and which is a lot of data. Without getting too jargony, it's a lot of data. And so we actually have everything, like I said, to the demographic level and to the product level and to all the details. So we know in this market, the most popular plan, colors of options or whatever. And we know that this certain type of demographics will like this and this and this. And not only will we also know those things, we can now generate custom, like I said, renderings and visualizations that will match that profile, but not just the product, but also all the photos. So if you say, and we're also going to tap into not just your specs of your homes, because I know when people buy homes, it's also a reflection of their personal interests. So you may like wooded lots, you may like golf, you may like pets, you may want a pool. So you put in all the personalization interests that you have along with the specs of the house that you want. Mm-hmm. And now using AI, which is artificial intelligence and all that data, which is in this Inugo system, it will now find a needle in the haystack house that matches your personal profile with not just the rendering of the house with the options that they think that you would like, but also with photos of pets and a wooded lot and those things. So all the content dynamically changes around you, which will change dramatically generic websites. Everything in our new 2.0 version is going to be a personalized website. So as you continue to scroll, the content changes around you, just like Facebook. Instead of navigating to find your friends' posts and what they like, what they did, all their content comes uniquely to you because your set of friends is different from my set of friends, even though I think we're now friends, so we may have some similar. But basically, the content comes around you, and the system will hopefully know enough about you that it will persuade you instead of persuading you to buy a house. It knows that your lifestyle is about to change. It knows you're about to move. It knows you like this and that. Hey, maybe it's time for you to go and get that house by the beach. And, anyway, sorry.
I feel like I need to be a cartoon character right now with the steam coming out of the ears.
I wish everyone could see how you're reacting with your hands and body language.
It's so great. So this I guess the closest that my brain can comprehend this, because this is so mind blowing to me, is that I guess Amazon, right? Because Amazon. They know everything about you. It's like Amazon and Facebook combined, that they know your birthday, they know your likes and dislikes,
they know what you bought,
recommending products to you based on that. And when you said to your husband, hey, do you want to try out that new restaurant? And you go on hey, there's that new restaurant, right? So this is kind of like a combination of that. And
let's go make a new go of it. Let's check out that restaurant.
That's crazy.
Yes.
And so is this what's coming?
This is what we are building now, because now that we've gotten the engagement and we're taking that data, that's why I had to make this separation between rendering house, which are kind of reaching the ceiling in terms of visualizations. Yes, we're adding new technologies of visualization, but it's really the floor of Inugo, which will allow AI, and then with AI down the road, we're hopefully going to have introduce virtual assistants. So instead of just sitting there touching things and stuff, you just ask Siri, you ask Alexa, and say, hey, what's a good 4-bedroom, 3.5 baths in North Raleigh that has a pool and is within 10 miles of my work, and it's also near a golf range. And it will show you, hey, here's the perfect lot with a perfect house and the perfect builder and the perfect options.
Yes.
And then you just
oh my gosh. That's and I think especially with millennials, if you think about the patterns of, it's great that we have the online consultants, right, helping answer questions, but a lot of that is going to be taking time during off hours, right? A lot of people are just searching the web, in their underwear or whatever, like on days off in the middle of the night. And if I can have that VR or artificial intelligence
and AI
answering questions for me. And I think another great thing about it is that most consumers feel much more comfortable speaking to
I agree.
the system, that as long as it's actually able to help you.
Right.
I feel a lot more comfortable speaking to that versus speaking to a real person, as terrible as it sounds, because I mean, they're still trying to sell me something, but it kind of feels different.
No, I agree. And I think a lot of people that always worry, they always get scared about this future. They say, well, I'm worried about the robots taking the humans' jobs. And I always think, wait a minute, shouldn't you be worried about humans doing robots' jobs? I mean, why are we doing menial tasks that aren't really adding value? What we want to see is the smile on your face, the reaction to, helping them when their time of need and guiding them along in their personal way. But all of the mundane, the quickly grabbing the specs and the availabilities and the prices, that should all be automated. It's all in the cloud. It's all real time, and let them filter themselves out and figure out which builder, which plan, which options they want to go through. So you're not wasting your time chasing 9 out of 10 people that are not even interested or qualified.
Yes, yes, amen to that. And it makes your job so much easier. And you know what? Your job is not going to be replaced because, all of this technology, they still cannot show empathy. They cannot show emotion. And that's where your job is to relate to this customers. They're coming in. One of my favorite things to ask a customer when they're coming through the door, when they say, hey, I found you online, I go straight to, what's your favorite floor plan? Because you know what? They've done all their homework. They know exactly what they want. So cut the BS, come straight to it. They're going to tell you exactly what they're here to buy. And it makes your life so much easier, and not skipping the whole discovery process, but you're not dealing with somebody who just pulled up to your model for the first time. I mean, that happens still, but more and more rarely happens. Most people now stalking you on the website.
Yes.
And they're doing a lot of stalking before they ever show up in your model home. So with this technology, now I think it's going to flip the whole industry, because right now your customers are stalking you and they know a lot about you, but we as builders don't know a whole lot about this customer.
Right.
And I think there are some websites that are allowing that interaction now, but I mean, this is going to take it to a whole new level where we as builders are going to be able to see every move this particular customer makes. So then when they come into your model home, maybe, what's your name? And you have a whole profile on this customer with their data, with what they've been looking at. And I'm sure in the future, it's going to be able to literally put together a perfect house and a perfect lot for them. So you can guide them like, hey, I think you know what you're looking for. Follow me,
Wow, I need to hire you as my first sales and marketing person.
I like that.
You're selling it better than I am, because actually you bring some real world frustrations and experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's the sales reps. That is definitely one frustrating factor, is that no matter how good of a sales rep you are, no matter how accessible you try to make that information for your buyers, there's a limit to it, and the buyers are confused because they see all those listings in MLS and it's like, well, I drove to this house is not there. It says it's 5 bedrooms, this and that. And it's like, well, I made it up. I made it up because I thought people would like that house, but it's not built. It's like, well, Can we see it? Do you have a model of it? And it's like, no, we don't, but.
I really think that this technology, as much fear as some new home salespeople may be worried about, I think it's going to reduce their work, and actually it's going to pull market share away from existing homes to new homes.
Yes.
Because the process would be so much easier.
Absolutely. Quint Lears was the one who said that we're the only industry where that used homes is our biggest competition. If you think about all other industries, the car industry,
right?
Cell phones. Think about cell phones. Yeah. Like, are you coming into the store and you're like, no, I want the iPhone 1. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think this whole technology is just going to flip it completely upside down, and it's going to make our lives so much easier. And then also think about all the options you're talking about, right? So now they have that freedom to choose the options that they want. They have the freedom to visualize it, because at the end of the day, my job as a salesperson is to get you over the finish line. I'm not a designer. And when those customers come in, they say, hey, Anya, what do you think about these cabinets and this backsplash? And they're looking at me for guidance. I'm like,
exactly. You're not a marriage counselor trying to decide between the husband and wife. Hey, do you want blue or you want pink? I mean,
that's exactly how I feel right now. You hit it on the head. Like, I do feel like a marriage counselor. The things you hear is the craziest things in people's lives because you are in the thick of it, going through all those decisions. Right. And it could be the most awkward thing in the world where you're sitting with a husband and wife and they're arguing about something right in front of you.
Right.
So a lot of that, can be handled behind the closed doors now, where they're able to make those decisions. They're looking at it. And I think it's great that you have that mortgage calculator that automatically calculates for you, okay, this new fridge or this countertop, that's how much it's going to cost. So you can really make a smart decision, because a lot of buyers, I think the biggest thing for them right now is, when you start that home buying process, what you see versus what you get at the end are very different. And with the budget, that's a scary thing for people, because you see this house, but then, okay, you got to add another $100,000. But what is $100,000? And as a sales reps, to try to sell them on that and try to paint that picture, sometimes it doesn't match what they have in their mind versus what you have in your mind. So I think this technology would completely overcome that, because you can plug, see exactly what the house of your dream costs you, and what that mortgage looks like. And you can make a smart decision based on that without going through all this crazy emotion with your sales rep.
Yeah, and the nice thing too, when we had the virtual homes with the floor plans and everything's at the correct dimensions, you can even furnish your homes so that when you move in there, it's already move-in ready. The current way you do it is you move all your junk in there, find it doesn't fit, you have to go and move all that junk out and then move all the new stuff in, when everything should just be move-in ready. There's another thing about millennials is they don't want the hassle. I just want the delivery of the product and service and the transaction to be seamless. It's like Uber. I don't want to be standing out in the rain with my thumb out trying to hail a taxi. It knows where I am. It knows who I am. It picks me up there. It takes me where I go, and I say bye, and the transaction is taken care of. That's what we need to do for the new home industry. Make it as seamless, as least painful as it can, and maybe even reduce costs and transaction fees in the process so that you can now compete against existing homes.
Absolutely. And, it kind of reminds me of Zillow right now, where you go on and you search for, so-and-so, and you see hundreds and hundreds and thousands of pictures of homes that may not match, no matter how many filters you're going to put on there, it's still not going to come close to what you want. So with this technology, if it zooms in, to, like you said, that needle in a stack of hay, it's like, holy smokes, like this is the house of my dreams. This is what I've been picturing. And I think most of us have that, right?
Well, one of the problems right now is, when most buyers are searching for a new home, they may pick the community, they may pick some certain specs, but you're going through Google, which is a text ads. You can't see anything. So you get 100 builders that show up, and it's always going to be the top builders and the name brands and that have the budgets. And if you're a buyer, you can probably only tolerate going through 10 builder websites and find out, oh, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. And you didn't know that number 11, they would have found the right place, but you never would have gone that far. Hopefully in this matchmaking process, we're hopefully almost become like the Tinder of the new home industry, where it will go and find across all builders, plans, lots, options, the 3 houses out of the 10,000 that will actually match your criteria. That helps your sales, click.
And it saves so much time.
Exactly.
And, time is money, and people these days, they just don't have the time to drive around, like you said, in the car, going from model to model, going through every single model, trying to see if this works for them.
And then they have to meet with you to go and design it. And then they have to wait another 7-8 months. I mean, how painful can we make this process of buying new? And that's why people is, like you said, is the only product, only industry where you would almost rather just buy it existing and take something that is not really what you want, but the pain is not there.
Yes.
Where we can reduce that pain and take it online, just like what Amazon has done. They've taken the pain of shopping and put it literally at your fingertips.
Absolutely. And the next day too.
Exactly. I don't know if we can get the next day yet until you guys do something with production, but
oh my gosh. So when is this technology going to be available? And if we want to be the early adopters, what do we do to get in line?
Perhaps, the design stuff has been out there for 3-4 years, and it's been really tested out. So now we're on 2.0 version. And the funny thing is we never get to the 2.0 version of any of our apps using the same platform. When we first did this like 4 or 5 years ago, it was in Flash, really slow, and then Apple banned it and it's no longer on website. So then we switched over to the iPad app, but that's a native app. And now we wrote in HTML5, and now we rewrote it in a new language in our 2.0, which is created by Facebook. So this has a Facebook flavor to it, which Facebook also creates Oculus Rift, which is the VR headsets. So with this new technology, we can take advantage of all that dynamic content, like you bring it in from all your personalized favorites and friends and family, but also infuse it with augmented reality and virtual reality and like instant messaging, and Facebook Live type of thing. So now you can do an advertising campaign in front of a virtual house and live stream it across to everyone. And also when people design their homes, they can hit post to Facebook and Pinterest. So what happens is the buyer launches free viral marketing campaigns on behalf of the builder without the builder having to go and pay for it or try to reach out to similar potentially interested buyers. And when the buyer, when their friends see it, they click on the backlink and say, well, why not try in green instead of blue? And so they get engaged into it. It just continues the viral marketing campaign.
Oh my gosh. And at the same time as they share that with their friends and family, and the friends and family clicking like, that reinforces their decision to want to buy this.
Exactly.
Social proof, right? It's all about social proof.
Collaborative purchase. I mean, people ask for opinions all the time on Pinterest and Facebook and things about, what do you think about, this t-shirt? What do you think about that? They can also be their, guidance on how to buy a home. Actually, talking about my real estate interest, I'm actually building in my other company, Malbec, which is building. Oh
my God, you're like a serial entrepreneur, huh?
Yeah, I know. I'm serially killing myself. But one of these days, when you don't hear my name anymore, that means that I succeeded, because that means that somebody bought me and I'm no longer. So my demise will be when you never hear about me anymore. But actually, I'm building across the street because we're growing so fast. We have about 40 employees, and everything you see on our website, everything we do is done in-house. Rendering in-house, but we're building a 54,000 square foot mixed-use development for a new office. But with that, we let the community of Holly Springs, where we're located, in social media decide how to build this place. It really takes a village to make a village. So we show different designs of the building, and they pick which design they want. We asked them which logo they like. They chose which logo they like, and that's what we're using. They asked us which vendors, which tenants, which types of restaurants. And so what happens is they bought into this whole thing. They're going to be patrons of it. When you start to buy a new house, it's going to be similar type of things. You want your friends and family to buy off of it. Are you willing to drive this far? Do you like this option? How do you think about the pool? Do your kids like the pool?
My gosh, I am speechless. And then this process turns your customers into loyal fans
and advocates of you. So now they'll want to buy from you again. They'll want to buy new again.
Yes. And I want to recommend and tell everyone about this experience, because look how cool is this.
Right. And the good thing is, once you design it the first time, the next time it knows that, hey, the one thing about intelligence is it knows every year we all get older. So it knows that, hey, you're getting to active adult lifestyle now. So I'm going to tell you, here's some great things they're building. And plus, I already know what types of floor plans you like, what types of options you like. So I know you love granite countertops. So I'm going to start off with granite. So it would automatically know your next potential purchase before you know it. It's going to persuade you. That's what we want to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Mind blown. I'm speechless. I mean, this is so crazy. And then the craziest part is that it's available to us now, or very, very soon.
Yes, very soon. The other things that we're waiting on, augmented reality has only been out for a couple of years, and we're waiting on this little company called Apple to start to add some more features to it. So
come on, Apple, get on with the program.
Apple. Well, right now we're able to take this full scale augmented reality house, and it's not just like your little IKEA furniture that you can do right now. This house has to drop in full scale on your lot, outside, and be able to walk around it and be able to look out of it. So that's a major milestone. But on top of that, we have to put multiple houses next to each other to create a neighborhood. We just created, in my latest video, we just created, so now you can touch that virtual house on your lot and change the color. So you can see, oh, actually that red house next to that green house doesn't look that good. Let me change it to blue. And you can just change it right there. And then what the next thing we're waiting on is the actual geo anchor. So now using GPS, it automatically creates this virtual neighborhood. So you can just drive around and in your smartphone as undeveloped property, see the virtual neighborhood, choose the house that you want. And then we're working with a national builder that once we do that, they want to gamify it. So it's almost like Willy Wonka and the golden ticket thing. Take a picture of the house with a red door and post it on Facebook. The first one gets that gets a $1,000 bonus or something like that. And that's almost like turning Pokemon Go into a virtual real estate agent.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This is unbelievable to me. I mean,
but that's how, I mean, give it some time. We part of the toughest part is getting existing sales and marketing people to adopt this. I think the consumers are ready to adopt it.
I am ready to adopt this.
Are you ready to adopt it?
We're all on board, right? We will be your guinea pigs. We will test it out, because you know what?
Can you post this in 1 year?
Come on, this will light a fire. You know, you'll have everyone calling you saying, "Where is this? Where is?"
I know. It's like promises I can't keep. Okay.
But so with the AR, all you really need right now is your Apple phone, right? Because
yes, now it's on Apple and or your iPhone or your iPad. We want to make it ubiquitous across all mobile devices, but we're starting off with the iPhone first, and we're hoping in a couple of years they're looking for 2020 for the AR glasses. It's a nice little catchy marketing, 2020. But hopefully with the AR glasses, you can put it on there instead of looking through your smartphone. And as you look around, it will automatically augment that house on there. It will give you information about it. Like, oh, this is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath or whatever. And it knows which angle you look at it to say, oh, you're looking at the screen porch. And then with Siri or Alexa or whatever, you can ask your virtual agent while you're out there, you know, tell me about this, whatever. And where's the school at and whatever. So you don't need to like sit down in front of your laptop or wait for the model home to open or who's available. You can start exploring on your own. But obviously at some point you want to have a tangible product and things to touch and somebody to talk to. Mm-hmm. But you can at least do the hunting on your own.
And if this hunting results in this data going to the model home, so when you're coming in, sign here, or you're not even going to sign here, you're just going to e-sign it, you know, and exactly. this is what I want.
It may know that Anya's been that you've been looking at lot 3 and this house for a long time. So when you actually talk to the agent, they're gonna say, hey, let me take you to lot 3. Let me show you what you have. Like, and there's no wasted time and chit chat. They just go right to it.
And you maybe can even incorporate into it, like how many people have been looking at this lot over in the last 24 hours. So again, to light a fire under them, they're like, oh shoot, look, 87 people signed it, saved this as their favorite. And they're looking at this. I better get my butt over there and sign the paperwork before it's gone.
In our current app right now, we actually can keep track of the lot statuses and the lot visits. So we know that, hey, 50 people looked at lot 10 and only 20 people looked at lot 9 next door. Why is that? Is it the price? Is it the location? And you can see, you know, get the analytics to do that. And we also have this new feature that tells you time to completion. So some of these builders, they want to really push pre-sales, but and they may be willing to give more promotions as you get closer to the finished completion time. So you can look at, hey, which lots are 90 days of completion, which one's 60 days, which one's 30 days, and it will automatically adjust the prices or promotions based on estimated completion time on those lots. So everything's automated. It helps you actually in selling the right things at the right price to the right people.
This is so amazing. I think, you guys, this is one of the most exciting times in the home building industry with what's going to be coming out in the next, 2-3 years. Right. Is going to completely revolutionize this industry and the way we sell homes. So, it's not, the reality is you need more than a website now, and you definitely need to pay attention to John and companies like John's companies that are really on the forefront of this, because if you're not paying attention to it, you're going to be left behind, because millennials are going to continue to overtake baby boomers and all the other generations. And this is what they're expecting. And if you're not providing to them what they're expecting, they're going to get it one way or the other from somebody who is offering this. So you guys go to renderinghouse.com, check out the Builders app, see if that's something that you can start implementing today. And then, John, we cannot wait for a new go. A new go?
A new go. Hopefully at the beginning of the year, we'll launch it and we'll make a new go of it. And then you can talk to me again next year.
Yes, I would love to have you back on the show to talk about it. And when you launch it, I would love to be one of the first adopters. So I'm definitely all ears.
Okay.
This is so cool. And John, thank you so much for being a guest today. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a super busy guy. And thank you for really making such changes in this industry. As we all know, it's definitely behind on a lot of things. And you know, I mean, I've been waiting for flying cars for a long time, but I think this technology is really going to make our lives as sales reps so much easier. And I thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome.
And hopefully, like I said, we'll have you back on the show at some point. And you guys have a good day, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.